British schools are utter war zones. They feel like some odd dream sequence from an Arkham game. For example, the toilets. It's pretty much a universal rule that you don't shit in the school toilets. You can get away with draining the main vein, but emptying your bowels into your own home's ceramic hammock is a far cry from the boys' toilet's porcelain morsel bin. Everyone knows if you need a shit at school, you hold it until you have access to your own toilet or a large bush. Yes, that is a bush. But what if you break this rule? Well, when I was in school, a friend of mine went to go and let his mediocre manhood sing a mediocre melody, except he also had to viciously shit. He's an absolutely legendary person, but he didn't conform to these unspoken rules. Not that he's some kind of rough and tough edgelord, he just never bent his knee to peer pressure, and apparently didn't care about ass tetanus either. But as he left the stall, he noticed people coming out of the one across from him. Yes, people, plural, multiple. It's not uncommon for hordes of ferocious Year 7 children to congregate and vape, but the profound lack of smoke drew him in. So, curious, he walks over and opens the door. And what does he see? Well, he sees a half-eaten baguette lodged into the bowl. But that's not all, because this 6-inch piece of bread had a generously sized fecal log perched on top of it. Yes, someone had put this baguette into their mouth, then into the toilet, and then gave it a fresh dumping of Africa's finest dairy milk. Either they had the fresh piece of shit beforehand and just carefully balanced it atop the bread, but I like to believe the genius behind that masterpiece used their own blood, sweat, and tears. And rectum. I believe the culprit selflessly ejected their own coccyx cocoa onto the soaked loaf like some weird modern art piece. Why do I believe this? Well, it adds to the story, and it's a very funny image to me. PE lessons were hell for me. Granted, I think any severely underweight boy with the lung capacity of a rock would hate PE, but I hated it especially. It was bad enough that my early school deemed running in circles and jumping through hoops too small to actually fit through, like some weird circus furry, to be physical education. It felt more like physical punishment, honestly. But as I got older, PE lessons actually became, educational. But I honestly preferred running around in a cold, unheated room in nothing but a t-shirt and short shorts, because the teachers always picked the hardest, strangest, most complicated sports to educate us on. I say educate, but really they just took us outside, gave us the respective equipment, and expected us to just know things. It doesn't sound too bad, but when you inevitably did something wrong, the teachers would treat it as an insult to their entire profession. So it goes without saying, PE lessons became a blessing around the time we had to study for our GCSEs. Every normal lesson became extremely difficult because of how study-focused they were. So PE lessons almost became free periods. Because we obviously didn't have a PE exam, and learning how to kick a ball correctly wasn't deemed as important as getting the things we'd need to pretty much still exist in the world, PE lessons were left with two options. We could revise. Or, because the teachers were particularly corrupted with vanity, you could do literally any sport in the world, provided the harsh requirement that it has existed now or at any time in the history of the universe. So, me and my main group of friends at the time did what any sane person would do. Play badminton for 2 hours. I remember this was particularly fun because we didn't need to follow the rules, so we took the piss immensely and barely played any actual badminton. Subs are heaven-sent deities. I don't believe in God, but the existence of substitute teachers must be some form of divine intervention. I don't know if it was just my school, but my substitutes were legendary. They were nice, helpful, and very lenient. So sub lessons just became do whatever the fuck you want lesson. So there you have it. Just before I finish, I'd like to give a big thanks to myself, actually. This video has been a long time coming. I just never got around to finishing it until recently. So yeah, this is the start of the Upright Almond channel. I don't actually know what I want this channel to be yet. This is honestly just a test to see if people like my humour enough to give me attention. But I don't want to keep anyone here any longer than needed, so thanks for watching if you did, and feel free to let me know your thoughts, especially if you'd like to hear me talk about other things, or if you'd like a different type of video altogether. I'm extremely new to this, so anything at all is helpful and appreciated. With that being said, I'm Upright Almond. Thank you, and goodbye.